Well, it's still October. The Rays are still not in the playoffs, but we can put a little spin on things. We can wish, we can dream, we can hope. Maybe there's a player or two or three among the remaining teams that we'd love to see in a Rays uniform someday.
That's right. And maybe, they can share the wealth, and we're both wearing red. So let's start doing that right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I was delayed on hitting the intro. We're recording on a Monday evening. My brain is fried, severed, butchered. Use whichever phrase you want there. Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano, and I was going to blame that on the potato.
Yeah, you could blame it on the potato. You could blame it on a lot of things. You could blame it on a lack of brain power for sure after a long Monday. We are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other podcasting platforms. You can also find us on social media and email us anytime. We love those mailbag questions. We may have a mailbag episode or two later on this week. LockedOnRays@gmail.com, or you could message us directly on social media. So speaking of social media, we did put it out on the Twitter sphere, X sphere, I should say now. Who's one player remaining in the MLB playoffs that you love to see in a Rays uniform someday? So of the four remaining teams, we have the Rangers, the Astros, the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks. So with that, Ulises, I posit the question to you. Who is that one guy? Or maybe you have a podium, a hierarchy of guys you'd like to see in a Rays uniform someday that are on one of those four teams or multiple of those four teams.
I think I have to take out one particular name out of the running here because it's just so easy. So Evan Longoria, I'm taking him out of the running. Sorry, Longo. It's just you're the guy. Yeah. So I gotta.
Yeah, we should have qualified the question with somebody not named Evan Longoria or somebody who hasn't already played in a Rays uniform, i.e. Tommy Pham, whoever, go on down the list, basically.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. Look, I know that as a Rays fan, we had seen this guy before, but he's really doing something incredible, and that's Jordan Montgomery, man. I mean, he is just killing it in the playoffs, and when you look at his numbers, I know they're not going to wow you, but and maybe it's because he had never really been a 7-inning shut against the Rays when he was wearing pinstripes. But, if you look at his ERA plus from 2020 on, it was 112, 113, 138. This guy gives you more than enough production. And what I really liked is that when I started looking from 2021 on, was the innings pitched. In 2021, 157 and a third innings pitched, 178 and a third innings pitched in 2022. And in 2023, 188 and 2/3 innings pitched. So this is a guy that, you give him the ball and he's going to be there every fifth day, which is really remarkable. And he only has a career ERA of 3.68. Like, I think I had it warped in my mind that he was just an easy guy. Like, why would I want this guy, or the Rays have it easy. Jordan Montgomery's on the bump. Right. But when you really look at his numbers, this is a solid MLB pitcher. And I think he has done himself a very nice paycheck coming up, because with the playoffs being such a great platform for people to start noticing you. Yeah. People that are writing the big checks have definitely noticed what he has been doing. And so he has added a few zeros to his name.
Well, isn't that what happened with Eduardo Rodriguez with the Red Sox? He has a strong showing in the playoffs and, back up the Brinks truck. Before you know it, he's got a 4-year, $77 million deal with the Detroit Tigers. So I could certainly see a similar case for Jordan Montgomery, and you'd love to have him in a Rays uniform, especially down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs, because we know that the projected starting 5 going into the regular season is probably not going to be the same starting 5 as you limp out of the regular season. So having a guy of his caliber, it's kind of funny because even though he did play in a Yankees uniform, did play in pinstripes, you sort of alluded to it. He wasn't really, you didn't fear him necessarily. He was almost maybe underrated or underappreciated in a sense, probably overshadowed by Garrett Cole and other bigger names, bigger star power there. But he has been consistent and solid for the last several years for sure. And he seems to just be getting better and better and kind of finding his footing as he gets into his late 20s and early 30s. And sometimes that's the case with guys.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I know that the 2020 and 2019, 2019 he barely pitched, but 2020 he did have kind of a weak season, 44 innings pitched. But again, if you look at his rookie year, 155 innings pitched, 116 ERA plus, 407 FIP. I mean, 388 ERA. He's just a solid guy, except for those 2 little blips there in 19 and 20, but 19 really shouldn't count. It was just 4 innings pitched in MLB. But I think I've been amazed with the talent that he has shown in the playoffs. And then when you look back at his numbers, it's like, oh, well, maybe you were undervaluing him and he was being, he was being not doing this sort of stuff in the regular season, but he's still a very good quality MLB pitcher.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of different offerings. It's not just like, oh, he'll overpower you with the fastball. It's he can throw the kitchen sink at you, which you would think would serve him well as he gets into his mid-30s going forward there. All right, I will give you my selection, my choice, who I would like to see in a Rays uniform someday. But Ulises, we have to tell the audience about something very important.
Yes, and I keep telling you guys that the best thing I have done in my life is to make things easier, be a little bit more efficient, and I can do that by knowing that my bird dogs are clean in my closet.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that no matter what I have to do out in the world, bird dogs are going to be the way to go. I mean, you can do anything. If you want to go out with friends, bird dogs are there for you. You want to go to Japan, bird dogs are there for you. You want to go do yoga, bird dogs are there for you. You want to go to the golf course like Kevin, guess what? Your bird dogs are there with you. And that fabric that they have, oh my goodness, it's so much better than those restricted cotton shorts that we all have hated for years. Well, these fit way better, and they make you look slimmer through the thigh, which obviously is just going to make your day so much better. So today, go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or enter promo code LockedOnMLB at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. In the past, you've been able to get a free hat or a free Yeti style tumbler like this, like you're watching on YouTube right now. And if you didn't get those, well, guess what? This is your opportunity. Do not miss out on a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. So today, go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you.
So the guy that I would love to see in a Rays uniform someday, and this is extremely pie in the sky, of course. I think, Ulises, you're probably more down to earth and conservative, and you're leaning with Jordan Montgomery. I'm kind of swinging for the fences here and saying anything can happen. Heck, if you have to offer up Junior Caminero or something to acquire this guy, maybe consider it. The guy I have in mind, I'm just going to do a little mystery tour for you here.
I like it.
He played 74 games in left field, 64 games in right field, 44 games in center, and 3 at DH. Played 155 games this year in 2023. He had an 868 OPS, 134 OPS plus, 362 on base percentage, 285 batting average, 25 homers, 54 stolen bases, 76 RBI, 30 doubles, 10 triples, which led the league. And he literally just turned 23 about a month ago and is, to give another hint, in his rookie season.
Mr. Corbin Carroll would be looking so good in Devil Rays throwback uniform, wouldn't he?
Yeah, get him an extra small uniform to fit his muscular 5'8" frame, but that is who I am banking on and going to bat for. He's just a rookie now. I get, and I know this is a lofty comparison, but Ronald Acuna vibe checks of, I would imagine that he's only going to improve and get better in his mid-20s. And he's also got that really, really team-friendly contract now at 8 years, $111 million with a 2031 team option. So there are some blips. Of course, I mean, he's about as good as you can be, but I know that, versus lefties, he's about average. He does strike out a little bit too much to have 125 strikeouts and 565 at-bats. But I think, like Acuna, those are improvements that can be made and harnessed on going forward. And we certainly know that the Rays could use a boost, a bump, some energy, particularly in the playoffs, a guy that can score and change the game on a dime and at least give you more than one run in a wild card series.
I just did the math. 111 million divided by 8 years. That's an AAV. That's an average annual value, people, of $13.9 million. That is a sneeze. That is what Stu Sternberg bought his last yacht for. I don't know. Right. I mean, that's just pocket money. My goodness.
I mean, basically, if he puts up these numbers for the next 2.5 years, he will have already, the Diamondbacks have already made on their investment, basically.
Yeah, no, this is what a deal. He's only 23, you said, right?
23, yes.
I mean, this contract takes him through 31. So he's going to get more money somewhere along the line as well. I mean, that's good for the Diamondbacks, good for Corbin to never say no to his first millions. And look, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I think it's pie in the sky, but he's such a tremendous player, a great talent. I don't think he's very comfortable in front of the camera / microphone. But I kind of like that attitude.
He doesn't have to be playing for the Rays in front of 2/3 empty ballpark. You've got all you have is Mark Topkin and Evan Klosky asking you questions. You don't have the New York, Boston, LA, Philly media market, Chicago media market. I mean, it's pretty laissez-faire, which I imagine that's kind of how it is with the Arizona. And that's something he can grow into a little bit too, maybe.
No, but I'm just saying that not everybody has to love the mic. Like Josh Lowe, really good in front of the mic, loves it. Longo used to when he was here with the Rays, but Corbin is more subdued. I think he's kind of like a Brendan Lowe kind of guy. He just wants to go out there and play baseball. And,
which again, there's something to be appreciative about that quality of his. And I'm glad you mentioned Josh Lowe because that's kind of the line of thinking. Manny Margot, I don't think he's going to return, and you need outfielders. The Rays seem to have more weight on infielders right now. You need another outfielder in the mix, and you could really work the rotation where Randy, Siri, J. Lowe, gosh, I know you hate that nickname, Josh Lowe, they kind of are in a circular motion where they each get a day off here and there, and you can work in playing time evenly split among them, or you move, give a guy a DH, and that's kind of how you solve that problem. So again, it's not going to happen, but I figured, hey,
that's fun.
I put the question out on social media. Pick a guy on the remaining 4 teams that you'd love to see in a Rays uniform, and I would love to see Corbin Carroll in a Rays uniform. Of course, I'd love to see, Bryce Harper and Marcus Semien and JT Realmuto, but if I had to pick one, it's that. And then taking everything else into the equation really cements it for me.
No, I mean, look, I think it's fun to play around with that. I think you went in the middle ground, exactly, like not about Bryce Harper. You know, you didn't do that. I was somebody on X.com told Danny Perez. He said, I don't know what you think, but I think it's fair to say that after watching the postseason, so far the Rays are from the fans' perspective lacking that leader in the clubhouse, like notably the Phillies and the Astros have displayed. And he said, kind of have we seen with Verlander, Castellanos, and Harper. Series is a top step guy, but I feel fairly confident he's not a leader in the clubhouse, given he's somewhat a rookie. Mm-hmm. And I just got to go back to that, the fact that whenever 2008 comes up and the Rays, you talk about two guys all the time. And it's...
Hang on, can I name them?
Yeah, please.
Eric Hinske and Cliff Floyd.
Where in the 2023 clubhouse were there Eric Hinske and Cliff Floyd guys? No, nowhere.
Yeah, signed a contract with the Toronto Blue Jays and had a great year in center field over there.
Yeah, basically. And another one signed a 1 year with them in Brendan Belt. And I'm really happy for what happened with Josh Lowe's transformation and Luke Raley and betting on them. But I feel like if that clubhouse doesn't have, I know we've talked about Zach Eflin, but even ball players in MLB have said that it's just a different thing to be a pitcher and a veteran than to be a position player. Yeah. You're there every day, not every 5.
Yeah.
And not joking around their next 4 there's nothing wrong with that. That's your job. You're doing your role, but there's something different with going to,
and really you need one on each side. You need that presence for the position players and that presence for the pitchers, maybe for the rotation and the relievers. But I would agree with you that if there's that one overarching leader and brings things together, the Cliff Floyd, Eric Hinske-esque type personality, it needs to come. It has to come from the position side of things. So, and that would have been like this season could have been an Evan Longoria, could have been a Tommy Pham, could have been and really that's a good question. Might be an off-season topic of who on this 26-man roster or 40-man roster, who's going to be that guy down the line?
You need it. And maybe there's some evolution by a guy that can do that. Hint, hint, wink, wink, Brendan Lau, if not traded.
I don't know. Yeah. I think he is who he is, I would say.
Right. Well, again, you don't have to be a raw guy, but I do feel like you have to be at least a raw guy. Not,
one raw, not two raw. Yeah.
Just give me half a raw. Right. But I feel like that was kind of missing again from a fan perspective. Hey, the people in the clubhouse, they might just be laughing at this and be like, no, that's completely nonsense. And okay, fine, it's nonsense. But from the fan perspective, I do want to see that. I do want to see the Floyd and the Hinske because players in interviews have said how much that helped them. Mm-hmm. That was a concern from the fan, just not having that. And hopefully it'll be in 2024. But, we have to talk about that very soon because 5 days after the World Series ends, 40-man rosters have to be dead and locked. So we do have an episode planned on what you can do with that 40-man roster. Because remember, people that are in the 60-day IL, they have to be transferred over to the 40-man after the World Series. The free agents to become free agents. But if, it has to be at 40. So if it exceeds 40, which right now it will, there needs to be some trades. There needs to be some cutting. And so that'll be very interesting to see who goes and who doesn't.
There is a lot to be worked out. That is for sure. We have more to discuss. Want to get the listener comments on the player that you'd like to see in a Rays uniform. But first, we have to tell you this. October baseball is back, and you can make your postseason debut with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join FanDuel today and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON, to create your new account. Then you can get in on the action from the first pitch until the final out. Bet on everything from strikeouts to home runs to who will win the game. And if you don't want to wait the whole game to get a W, predict what will happen in the next at-bat with a really neat feature called Quick Bet. So head on over to FanDuel right now. Go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON right now. Step up to the plate this postseason with 200 buckaroos and bonus bets guaranteed. Make every moment more with FanDuel. They are the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. I don't know if this is in the comments yet, but wouldn't mind having Yordan Alvarez on a Rays on a Rays squad, Rays uniform. Talk about bolstering the middle of your order, and just with the swing of a bat or two swings of a bat can change the complexion of a game. I mean, that's we've kind of been harping on that. That's what's been missing from the Rays for so long, is and even going further, of
a Hall of Famer has been missing from the Rays. Yes,
crazy, yeah. So, but getting to the listener comments here, Tom Sweeney says Corey Seager, he wakes up hitting, can play third or short. We may need a shortstop, or he plays third base and Paredes moves to first, and Yandy is DH to save his legs. That's an interesting point from Tom. I mean, depending on how the Wander Franco stuff shakes out, and if we think Junior Caminero is a legit everyday shortstop, that might be a question. So who's going to fill that void over the next several years? The issue I have anyway with Corey Seager, I mean, he's a terrific, well-rounded ball player. It's just he's almost, maybe not to this extent, but gives off Kevin Kiermaier unable to stay on the field vibes. I mean, it seems like every other year there's some problem happening. He played 119 games this year, 95 games in 2021, 134 in 2019, 26 games in 2018. It's like, just go down his injury history. You have UCL sprains, hamstring, quad, lower back, hand, thumb, elbow, hip issue. I mean, it's one thing after another, but I just wanted to point that out.
We've talked about this maybe off mic or on mic, but I never saw him getting that much money. To be completely, I doubt that out of all of the contracts that have been signed in the last 5 years or so of like mega money, wow, that has been at the top of holy crap, he got that much. And again, terrific ball player, but how did that not knock off some of the zeros?
What's crazy to me is it's almost, to me, that Corey Seager was overpaid and Marcus Semien in a sense was slightly underpaid, because Marcus Semien, he's the anti-Kevin Kiermaier in that he plays every single game, literally plays every single game just about every year. If you go back the last 3, 4, 5 years, if he's not playing 162, he's playing 161.
And I think I like Marcus Semien's character arc or player arc in MLB, because when he started, at shortstop, he was a defensive liability out there. But the guy with work ethic has just created himself and a change of position. But when he was still a shortstop, he got to be an average shortstop. And so that's why when I hear people talk about, especially on our comments, not only on YouTube but on social media, about Jonathan Aranda and in other platforms as well, just he just, or even Curtis Mead, I'm like, can you give them time to cook a little bit? I mean, imagine if Marcus Semien was not allowed the opportunity to cook with the glove a little bit, then he wouldn't have ever won a Gold Glove. I just, with rookies, I mean, you just got to be a little bit patient, and that can come with time. If you know their work ethic, which after having talked to Curtis Mead, the dude oozes that
Right.
on what he does and how he feels about his craft. I just feel like it's very short-sighted by fans when they just deem the guy, oh, he can't field at all. He's a pure DH. Like,
Right.
can we just give him more than 30 games in the MLB before we say,
Yeah, where
Junior
the
Caminero.
speed of the game, it takes time to get used to that. And I feel like it's easier to improve your defensive prowess versus your offensive prowess. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
100%. Like,
so there's that as well.
Junior Caminero, oh, he can't be a shortstop. Well, can you give him a second? Can you
Yeah.
just give him a second, see if he can or not? No, he
Mhm.
just can't be. Oh, okay. All right, fine.
All right, cool. No, yeah, that's fair for sure. But yeah, just Marcus Semien, which by the way, he posted 7.4 WAR this year, led the American League in games played, appearances, runs, and hits. If he keeps this up for the next 3, 4, 5 years, he might be. There might be a conversation as to the Hall of Fame.
I like that conversation very much so.
Yeah, which again, this isn't locked on Marcus Semien, but 162 games in 2023. 161 in 2022, 162 in 21, 162 in 2019. We know about 2020, of course, and then 159 in 2018.
What a guy! What a guy!
Unbelievable. That does not happen. He's he's millennial baseball, Gen Z baseball's version of Cal Ripken. Essentially.
Yeah.
All right. Chris Snyder says Evan Longoria, even if it's just to retire. Baseball biz on deck, says Tommy Pham. Tampa Bay fan in Japan. Our buddy says Jordan Montgomery. Robert O'Brien says Evan Carter, if we can't re-sign Randy. Again, I'm saying Evan Carter, he's the next Kyle Tucker. He is going to turn and matriculate into something similar to that. Kyle Tucker wouldn't be a bad guy in a Rays uniform either. Tampa kid, also I think a little bit underrated despite playing for the Astros, who are now down 2-0 to the Rangers in the ALCS. Again, Rangers are riding this hot streak, this hot wave of putting up offense, and credit to Nady Eovaldi. He was in a couple jams, got out of them. It was funny because as I was preparing for tonight's show, doing a little prep, watching the game, doing prep, watching the game. And I had quite the conundrum because I am not rooting for the Astros, but I'm also not rooting for Aroldis Chapman in any shape, form, or sense of the world there. So it's like, what do you do here? Who do you root for in this case where Chapman's on the bump for the Rangers and Jordan Alvarez or whoever is at the plate for the Astros?
I think at that point you just have to root for the meme.
Yeah, there we go.
So then he can give you that. And
so root for the meme or the gif of Bruce Bochy walking up to the mound and commanding Aroldis Chapman, give me the damn ball right now. Sit your butt down as we bring in Leclerc.
Give me this. You're not throwing this anymore today.
You've had enough. You've had your fill.
That was it.
It was a mess. You spilled milk all over yourself.
Kiddo?
No more cereal for you. I'm sorry.
Kiddo, go to your room.
Yeah.
And now I got to clean this up.
Exactly.
Your brother now doesn't have cereal anymore. All right.
I'm trying to get my fourth ring here. And
which
again, that's part of the mystique of Bruce Bochy. Like, he's pulling the strings. You can't really put up a fight when Bruce Bochy's asking for the ball, because it's like, man, he's won 3 of these things. I think he knows what he's doing here.
And not to go too far here, but dude, they put an overlay on like Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy, and they have very similar careers. Dusty has more games won. I think more pennants, Baker than
more
than
wristbands and toothpicks as well,
and cooler photos,
gloves.
Yes, but where it matters most, World Series rings. Dusty Baker has 1, Bochy has 3, and that's when I think like the argument. Okay, who would you rather be? I think most fans would care less about regular season wins. They'd be like, no, 3 rings. That's what we play for. 3 rings over 1. And that's why I think Michael Jordan will forever be the GOAT because
Right.
you go 6 times and you win 6 rings. You end up 6-0, and LeBron can make as many regular season points as he wants, but you just don't have that mystique of 6-0. So that was that was my Michael Jordan statement piece of today's
There we
show.
go.
There you go.
Love it. We are Michael Jordan fans. You oftentimes see me wearing Jordan brand gear. So I will not disagree with you on that. Bring back Longo. I guess he wants to bring back Longo, but Bryce Harper is who he chooses. Our buddy Argenis Rashad says Aaron Nola. Besides, he'll be a free agent after this season. And you might say, Aaron Nola, okay, out of all the people to choose and select, why him? But I get what Argenis is saying. While his numbers don't necessarily scream out to you this season with an ERA above 4, I think there's better stuff under the hood. And he does have over 200 strikeouts this season. But similar to Marcus Semien posting as a position player, Aaron Nola post as a starter. 193, 200, 212, 168, 202. And like every year going back the last, handful, half dozen years, he's going to make X number of starts. There's not going to be a question of, is he going to miss a couple months? Is he going to have Tommy John? Is something going to happen? He's going to be available in there for you.
That matters. I like it. I like all these options. I just, if you could get them to be healthy, that's what matters.
Yes, for sure. And then Noah Worley, last comment here, says pitcher Aaron Nola, hitter Alex Bregman. Yuck. I mean, as much as I obviously love to have him in a Rays uniform just by what he can provide, but just not the biggest fan of Bregman for other reasons, obviously. Or Josh Young. Josh Young would be an interesting piece and add, although I think the Rays might be okay at third base for the next little bit, so we'll see.
Caminero, Boz, and Bradley for Carroll.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
I want some Corbin Carroll. Yeah, put it up in the YouTube comments or email us or comment on social media. Can you repeat the names? Boz, Bradley, and Caminero for Corbin Carroll. Not straight up. It's 3 for 1, but that's the deal, right?
That's the deal. 3 for 1. And you take the contract, which is very nicely done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Me too. Like, I mean, eyes closed, where do I sign? And I know some prospect huggers are going to hate us in the comments, so feel free to hate us on the comments for that trade.
How can you prospect hug if you're getting basically an MVP caliber player in his rookie year? Like,
because it's Caminero. It's Caminero. It's Boz. It's Bradley. Because
okay. I mean, Bradley, I mean, again,
you're potentially giving up away 2 Cy Young winners and an MVP, man. Can't do that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. I will be curious to see what the people say on the YouTubes. Hit it up in the chat, hit it up in the comments. Would you make that deal? Or if you have a switcheroo deal, if you have your own, let's say, not the old rip-off, we can offer a ham sandwich and a pack of bubble gum and a pack of toilet paper for Corbin Carroll. Like, give us your legitimate trade offer to acquire Corbin Carroll. I want to hear and see those.
I want you, when you put those names on their Locked On Rays listeners, when you type those names in there or tap them on your mobile phone, I want your insights to hurt because that's when you know you're actually giving up something of value. Yes. I want something in this Chestal region to
when you're acquiring or making that offer for Corbin Carroll, I want you to almost have the feeling of, should we do this?
Yes.
Is this really the best move?
That's exactly it. Perfect. Boom.
Yeah, there we go. All right. That is something we'll have to read on Wednesdays and Thursdays show. So you all have a job to do.
Yes.
Think about it. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. We will talk to you tomorrow.